Something I've noticed being forced to get off grid this year. I started off grid actually in June. I had a lease deal that didn't work out, but it was then that the internet I had to get via solar power or charging the battery station, and it greatly limited the amount of time that I could spend online. And I also found out that when it gets below freezing, you can't have any electronic devices because they'll quit working. Even the GoPro, I have to keep the battery in my pocket at night to keep it warm. I keep the phone under the blankets with me to keep it going, and I don't have internet on my phone. I refuse to put internet on my phone. And I've really noticed, you know, as I go back into town, I hadn't paid attention anymore how just, it's not just the addiction, but there's something called the blue screen effect, where even if you're just using the internet for work, as I was mostly, to fulfill eBay and Etsy orders, that the color, the wavelength, everything of the light being projected from the screen itself affects you. It affects your mind, it affects your behavior, it affects your psychology. And in retrospect, at 52, I've seen various movies in my life that have had predictive programming to this. One I think was called Trancers when I was a kid, probably back in the 80s. Another was an episode of Star Trek, which was one of the most cringe episodes ever. Wesley has to save everybody from this thing they all had on their devices. It was basically a predictive programming of the modern smartphone. You'll see if you can find that episode. And yeah, I haven't had any internet up here for a few months, plus at all. Before that I was limited, and I've really noticed my ability to focus has improved. My overall mental health has improved. I feel better. I sleep better. So it's something to think about as you sit there watching this on your blue screen laptop or phone. Instead of taking it and throwing it in the river, you're continuing to watch me out here walking in the snow. And I think if you do succeed in getting off grid, you will see that as well. Because even the people that have the good solar setups are probably going to still be limited in how much they're getting online. I think it's always going to affect you whether you're getting gas for a generator for your power off grid, or solar or wind or water. You're still going to be thinking, is that reading that comment or responding to that comment worth the few rays of sunlight it actually costs me to respond? It changes your whole outlook. In fact, if I succeed at my business here, I plan to just get an apprentice if I can afford to get some property eventually, and have them running the internet and being the one going into town, and then I'll not have to deal with any of it again. I'd be perfectly happy at 52 now, going back to when I was a kid and there was no internet. It seems like it was a better world. I watched TV, you know, ruin my own family and ruin a lot of other families. People just sit there and zone out. It ruins their minds. I haven't owned a TV in 30 years. You can't get away from planes out here. I don't care what anybody tells you. They're everywhere. Well, that's my thought for the day. Kill your television, basically.